Turn the light out on me. Hello, everyone. If you are out there and awake and listening, we got this StreamYard, so I figured I would use it in the time being and try to see if I could get some advice or help on us trying to fix up our house and sell it. And it's been difficult. And we've run into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. Hi, Shelby. And it's just been extremely frustrating, and my husband and I have put our heads together and tried to think of whatever we could to address each and every problem as they come along, and contacted people we thought could be helpful and give us advice. But there's a lot of people out there that may have some advice for us that we wouldn't know to ask you for advice. So I figured I would at least give it a shot, talk about it, and just see if we can't do something. So basically, the situation that we have right now is that our home, Richie's supposed to start his job on the 22nd of June. So we are trying to get our house on the market and get out of here in time to make it to Idaho by June 22nd. The initial problems that we've run into is that the house needs a lot of cosmetic repair because of having 7 kids. So initially we attempted to go to get a home improvement loan, and the bank declined our loan application, even though we are still appealing that loan application. Yeah, at the beginning they told us, no, we're not doing anything for you. Kind of left us in a bad position because we had already talked to 2 realtors and had estimates, and they were both ready to work, and then we couldn't pay either one of them because we couldn't get the loan. So when we attempted to try to do some of the repairs ourselves, it's just completely overwhelming because we have 7 children that we are still trying to take to school at the moment and get through their schoolwork. Plus, they have therapies because of the special needs. And plus, we're trying to do all the things for retirement. And, there's a whole lot of other stuff involved with moving besides just fixing a house. And then the size of our family, getting medical records, just packing, planning trips, making out how we're going to do it, how we're going to pay for everything, and where we're going to stay, and how we're going to get all the medications. Elijah's all of his medical needs and his formula and his medications and syringes, and it's just massive. It's a lot of stuff that we're doing every day. And with the coronavirus happening and having to stay at home and things away from Michigan, and all the other stuff that's going on, a lot of businesses that we needed to work with have been closed or limited, and that's put everything behind on a slower schedule. And part of the reason why the bank denied us a loan is because they've made it more difficult to give people loans due to the coronavirus and people losing their jobs and the economy failing. So banks are less likely to give you a loan unless they know for a fact that you can be trusted with the money, and you can't really do that unless you have a very high credit rating. Well, due to a lot of the other issues we've faced in the past, we've had to file for bankruptcy 3 years ago, and so our credit is not the greatest credit, which has made it even harder for us to get any type of financial assistance. So that's been rough. We did We also didn't get the full amount that we were supposed to for the stimulus checks, which I'm not sure why, but they didn't give us the amount that we were promised. But because we did get some money, we have been able to use that to purchase some supplies for some of the things that we're doing ourselves, like the sheetrock and the mudding and the tools and things that we've needed for some of the repairs that we've done already that I've put on Facebook and shown pictures of. But there's still a lot more to be done. There's a ceiling in the back that needs to be framed. All of the carpeting needs to be pulled up and replaced. All the flooring needs to be redone. And then, of course, there's some patchwork that needs to be done on the walls, and everything needs to be painted. We have one repair on the outside for a leaking window in the bedroom, and the gutters on the home need to be replaced. So there's a significant amount of work that needs to be done, and there's only 2 weeks, and there's very few of us. In addition to that, all of those problems, the military can't pack us out until the 5th of June, which is when we wanted to leave. So because the military can't come and pack out our stuff, and even the contractors we have spoken with to try to work with, they want an empty house to do any of the work. Well, we can't get the house empty because the packers aren't coming. So we've come up with all sorts of creative ideas on trying to fix this problem by trying to get as many boxes as we can, to pack up as much as we can, and use, laundry baskets and bins and whatever else we can find to try to move all of our items to the garage, or a part of the home that it doesn't need repair, so that we can get everything out of the way. Or not the bathrooms. Maybe a closet or something like that. But we've tried to do whatever we can. But there's so much stuff because it's a 5-bedroom home and there's 9 of us here, so there's a lot of stuff. I'm not sure it's all going to fit in the garage, but I don't know what else we can do because we can't afford to buy a storage unit. And then we attempted to contact some contractors that would work on a financial plan. And I contacted 5 different contractors that have financing options. Of the 5 contractors I contacted, only 2 responded to my request. One came out, and after they were almost done with their quote, told us they weren't available until June 30th. Well, that's well beyond the time that we need, and why they didn't say that up front, I don't know. And then the second contractor actually came out yesterday, gave us a quote of $40,000, which is more than double the 2 initial quotes that we got before we found out we couldn't get financing. So we're like, oh, okay, why is there such a huge difference? Because in all honesty, the only difference between the time that we got the first quote and the time when we got the second quote was we did a lot of work ourselves. We actually tore down all of the wood paneling that was in the playroom and hung up sheetrock. And we also tore down, we did a lot of demolition work. We tore down the drop ceiling, completely tore it down. And there's actually less work to do now than there was to begin with. So I don't particularly know why they're giving such a humongous quote. But even the business that couldn't come until June 30th gave us a quote for $16,000. So there's a huge discrepancy here. From now we've had the 2 quotes we got initially and a third quote from a financing company that can't work until the end of June 30th. all around about between $15,000 and $18,000. And there's one company that wants $40,000, but the one that wants $40,000 is available right now and can do the work. And they have financing options that we should be able to get. So, what do we do? What's your guys' advice? What do you think we should do? Should we go with this? No, no, don't even say that. But should we work with this company that's offering us a $40,000 repair bill, and go with their financing company, or should we try to find another company because we're really running out of time and I've already contacted 5 companies that finance, or should we continue trying to do this ourselves with whatever help we can get? Honestly, I really need your guys' input because we're beyond stressed to the max just trying to do the work ourselves in addition to everything else that we're having to do with the kids and the rest of the process of moving, plus trying to find a place to live in Idaho. Either way, we're looking at a situation where we're going to be having to pay to live in 2 places at one time because we just can't. We're not going to get this house on the market in time to sell it before we leave. And even if we paid $40,000 and had the contractors come out and finish it in 2 weeks, we're leaving in 2 weeks. So it takes, 30 to 45 days for closing to occur, even if somebody wants to purchase it immediately. So we're going to end up having to pay, even if we have to rent or stay in a hotel for a while. We've even considered, because we have all the camping gear because of the Boys and Boy Scouts, that we could just go stay at a campground for a while and just camp out, and the weather's getting nicer and we're closer to summer, and that might save us some money than instead of having to pay for a hotel or anything like that, to try to hold us over. But I even tried to contact Bobby, my uncle, which I really wish he would come help me. Please, Bobby, come help me. Because he lives close by and he's a contractor himself. And I would really love it if he came out and helped us do the repairs. And we would pay him, obviously, for his contract work. But at this point, he has declined to come and help. Another good friend of ours who does contract work, who has helped us before, is currently working on another contract. So they're not available to help us. And the only other companies that I've heard about that people have recommended to, they require upfront payment, and don't have financing options available. So yeah, it's just extremely stressful, and I'd love to have your guys' thoughts on what we should do. I can say some things that are not an option. It's not an option for us to live separately while we get it figured out, because it's a new job and because we have a large family. We're not going to drive across country individually with all 7 kids. It's just, if you think this is stressful, that would be extremely stressful and unsafe. I would not feel safe driving across country with all 7 kids. I wouldn't be able to even make sure that they were safe to get out of the car to go to the bathroom, for rest stops, and staying at hotels with one mom and 7 kids. Like, it's just really not something that we want to do. And because it's a new job, he's not going to be able to go to work and then take time off to come and get us. And then trying to, even if if it was a one-way trip, to pay for airplane tickets, I mean, that's 9 airplane tickets is astronomically expensive. There's no way we could afford that either. The other thoughts that we've had were trying to get the contractor to do maybe half of the work, and try to do the rest of it ourselves. Seeing what we can get approved for through their finance company. Yeah. So that's some of the things that we've thought about doing, but we are at the moment with two people's help. Jason, thank you, Jason, and Mike Dingman have been coming over and helping us do some of the work ourselves. Mike suggested that we maybe go to Lowe's or Home Depot and use some of their options to have them come out and replace the flooring for us. I'm not sure how much it would cost to do that, but that's something that we could look at doing without having to do that part ourselves. Painting really shouldn't be that hard. It's just purchasing the paint, I think, is going to be the most expensive thing because it is 2,000 square feet. So we need to paint everything: the walls, the doors, the trim, and the ceilings. So that's a lot of paint. I think most of us have painting experience. You've been in the military, you have painting experience. It's just the way it is. You know how to paint. It might not be pretty when you're done, but yeah. Well, they can't hear you that well because you're so far away. Yeah. Or to have the kids paint, because then it would just be in every which direction. I'm gonna put your comment up. Yes. I think if we keep doing it all ourselves, I mean, we've literally been working nonstop. We get up in the morning, we make a plan on what we're gonna do for the day, and then take care of like trips to the store, phone calls, emails, all while we're trying to get the kids to do their schoolwork. And usually around 10 o'clock, 10:30 is when we start doing like physical labor stuff where we hung sheetrock and cutting boards, sanding, cleaning, those types of things. That's the biggest thing that we've been working on. And then we usually are going up until 5, 6 o'clock at night. The good thing is the schools have provided breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the kids. So there's nothing that we have to prepare for dinner for them or for lunch. We just say, hey, kids, go get your lunch. And it's already in a bag. They pull it out. They get what they need. And they can sit down and eat it. That doesn't require our intervention. And then usually, and the older ones can help the younger ones that can't do things by themselves. And then from that point, we have, after around 5:36, when we finish doing the work, we eat dinner, put the kids to bed, and then try not to pass out after at that point. But still, like, we're still like tonight after we put the kids to bed, we finished packing our clothes and going through our laundry in our bedroom and cleaning it up ourselves, which we just finished. So we're working pretty much nonstop. I can look at some other contract options. We did have a neighbor who ended up having some roof work done, and they what was it? Sorry, I'm here. Richie hit my mouse. He's laying on the mouse and kicked me. Oh, I'm sorry. So we are planning on selling the home. I don't think there's any way we could rent it out. Even if we rented it out, we would still have to do the repairs, all the repairs. And and then we would have to maintain it to keep it in good shape for whoever rented it. Yeah, and I just think it would end up being more of an issue. And there is no minor cosmetic repairs. It's all It's all, we've lived in the house for 6 years, and the kids were much younger when we first bought the house, and they also had a lot more behavioral problems. Um, we had years of ABA therapy and behavioralists in the home to work with us, but in that time frame, they were very destructive on their property and our property and themselves. Um, until more recently, I mean, they've gone through years of therapy now, and their medications finally managed, and their behaviors are a lot more under control. And the younger ones don't have autism. They don't have the same behavioral issues that the older kids had. We just discontinued ABA therapy for Elijah about 2 years ago. So there's holes in the wall. There's big holes in the wall. There's markers and drawings everywhere. Yes. And we didn't have the money to just paint every time they marked on the wall, so we just was like, whatever. Because we bought the house as a flipped house, initially they had like a base paint on the walls, and it was impossible to clean. There was no way you could clean it. With a dry erase a magic eraser or anything, it just wouldn't come off. It would just take the whole paint off the wall. It was terrible paint. And the people who flipped the house before us did some crappy work. And it looked good. It looked good when we bought the house. But as soon as we started moving things, we just saw that there was a yeah, they literally had holes filled with paper towels and painted over, and they had cut wires that were just hanging. You had no idea what they went to. There was now there's cracked concrete on the floor when we pulled up the carpet, that just rocks of broken concrete that they just put carpet over, so you wouldn't even see it. We also found out that there was shingling on the back of the house that had asbestos in it that was not told to us when we bought the house. And they had basically added on an addition and covered it up. We never saw it, never was disclosed to us when we bought the house. Now we have to disclose it because we know it's there. Yeah. So we have to get it clean, covered up ourselves, because it has to be covered. That's you can't remove it because it's too much of a danger to remove it. But we have to say, hey, that's there. So, yeah. We have the option to sell the house as is, but we're probably going to lose a lot of money if we do that. Because we owe, I'm not going to say how much we owe because this is public and live, but we need to sell the house at least for $300,000 to cover all the costs of the repairs that we're doing ourselves, and the fees to the real estate and the closing costs. That's kind of what we need to sell the house for at a minimum. If we sell it as is, we won't get anywhere near $300,000 for it. So every little bit we do ourselves is going to give value to the house. So we'll get more if we sell it as is, the more that we do before we leave. So we're at least attempting to put sweat equity into the house as much as we possibly can, because there's just no way that we can get it perfect with just us, unless we had a lot more people help. which I understand there's not much we can offer people. I mean, buy you dinner or pay you whatever we could afford to pay for anybody to, come and help us. It's something like that. Because we're leaving. So there's not much we can do after we leave. And there's limitations with the coronavirus and the amount of people in a space and trying to be safe. But every little bit of help can go a long way, even with just boxes right now, because we can get all our stuff in our garage. But we did think about the renting option. We did think about having somebody else stay here for a while until we can get things better situated, which is still an option. We can have someone here and give them power of attorney to oversee stuff. It's not the best option, and we would have to pay for 2 living spaces for longer if we do that. So that's not what we really want. But one of the biggest things is, like, for contractors and stuff, like, would it be worth paying $30,000 and just be done with it, or trying to find other cheaper people to do the work? Is that way too much to charge? I know I'm all wrapped up in the cord. Sorry, I'm shaking the screen. Thank you. What do we need help with? All the things. Anything and everything. So if you can paint, that would be huge help. Drywall repair, or sanding and taping up drywalls, because I tried to do it myself and I did decently. The very first seam I did not turn out well. I'm probably going to have to redo it, but the more I practiced, the better it got. So it looks a lot better than when I first started doing it, because I'm the one that's been doing most of the mudding. So if you have any drywall experience, that's great. Another thing is carpentry work. A lot of the what is it called? The trim is going to have to be put up around the windows and around the wall, the tops of the walls and the bottom of the walls in the playroom for sure. And then the the addition where the asbestos was at, the asbestos siding is going to have to be covered. And then we need a frame built out of 2x4s to put up a ceiling. And that's going to have the ceiling put up, and then all that's going to have to be more what is it? After the framing and the ceiling, we're going to have to put up more stuff to make it look nice and paint it. And there's also ventilation that has to go into it. So ventilation is going to have to be added into that back area. And that's one of the things that we were considering having the contractors do, because that is a big job and we're not sure how to do all of that, especially with the asbestos siding. The other thing is all of the carpets need to be removed, including the padding and the tack boards. And if you have somebody that can do it, then please just let us know. to come out and help, because we definitely need all the help that we can get, and hopefully not have to pay $40,000. One of the things that the contractor had said was that we have textured walls, and they said that you had to have prepped sheetrock, and that you had to have this special sand and stuff like that. And I'm like, no other contractor has said anything to us about needing a specific kind of drywall. Special paint. We've had different people say different kinds of paint to cover the writings that are on the wall. And then we've also had people tell us different things about the my brain doesn't want to work. The hardwood floors. I gotta think of it. What's called the hardwood floors. Because there's a stain on the hardwood floors. So some people have said we have to redo all of the hardwood floors to get rid of the stain. Other people have said we can just sand that one area, and that's all. And then we can do a finish over top of it and be done with it. So, different people have different opinions on the hardwood floor, but there is a stain in it that has to be fixed. There was a leak under the kitchen sink that needs to be, the bottom of the cabinet needs to be repaired. The rest of the leak and all of the stuff associated with it is already fixed. All of the plumbing is repaired and in good working condition. No plumbing needed. We took care of that first. So there's no water leakage or anything like that. The gutters need to be I thought they just needed to be reattached. The last contractor that came out said that because they're bent, you can't just reattach them. They need to be completely replaced. So, yeah. So that's what I'm saying, why they gave us like this $40,000 estimate, because they don't want to repair anything. They want to redo everything, like completely redo it. So I don't know why they're not willing to just do some repairs, but want to tear it down and redo it all. But and then the one bedroom with the leaking window has missing a fascia board that needs to be replaced. And because there's water that's been coming in the window, that sheetrock and insulation is going to have to be torn out and replaced. I can almost guarantee it. So that's the ceiling in the addition, the gutters, and the fascia board and the window are the three major jobs that need to be done. The rest of the house is simply sheetrock repair, painting, and replacing all of the carpet that you would need to do in any house that you sold. You'd have to, if you lived in it for 6 years, you're gonna have to replace the carpet. So if anybody can help with either the ceiling, the window, the gutters, or sheetrock repair, painting, or flooring, it would be huge help. Because we are just getting beyond stressed out trying to do it all ourselves. And I know I heard something about a second stimulus, which who knows if that'll go through and when it would go through. Because any type of extra money is going to help us pay for anything that we have to do to repair. But the good thing is that the Navy's still going to pack us out. They just can't do it until June 5th. So we're going to try to put everything in the garage. If someone has a garage that they're willing to let us use for storage in the meantime, that would be hugely helpful too.
That would be great.
Yeah, that would be a huge help. If you have any boxes that we can use, that would also be great. If you have any, extra supplies for painting or like rollers or paintbrushes or anything like that, that would also be a huge help. Anything that can help us. I think we bought. Do we need more sheetrock? We'll need more sheetrock. If we end up having to do the ceiling ourselves, we'll have to buy more sheetrock. Otherwise, I think we have enough for finishing the playroom. I think we have enough mud. We have enough stuff to sand. I think we even have enough mudding to do the repairs on the walls. But we don't have supplies to paint with. We have nothing to paint with. We have no rollers, no nothing. And I think we have cutting tools and all the regular tools that we would have or need. And I have no idea about carpet. I've been tearing up the carpet by using a razor blade and a shovel. So, yeah, it works. It's not easy to do. It's a lot of work, but it works. I've been getting it up just fine with using a shovel to get up the tack board and a razor blade to cut the carpet so that I can get a hold of it so I can pull it up, because I just don't have the strength to rip it up without cutting it first. So I will post in the comments my address, but you can always reach me by messaging me on Facebook, either this page or my personal page. I've posted my address a couple of times because we're having the drive-by on the 31st. So the address is listed there. If you want to know where we are. If you're afraid of contact because of the coronavirus and you want to donate some boxes, just drop it off at the front in the house. Yeah, just throw it at the house and we'll get it one way or another. Even small boxes, because we have a lot of books and we can't really put books in big boxes. So if you have any small boxes, we really could use those as well for the heavier items that we need to get out of here. And there's just so much stuff. We're actually going to get rid of some of our furniture, so both of the couches we have are in really poor condition, so we're going to throw them away. We have a dumpster hopefully coming tomorrow, and so we'll be able to throw out a lot of the demolition stuff that we did, and then we'll be able to get the carpet out of here, start getting the carpet pulled out of here tomorrow once the dumpster comes. Yeah, if you want to help out with pulling carpet, you don't need to have any skills to do that, just time and energy to get it done. If you need some extra money because you're not working, I mean, we'll do what we can, because it's better than paying $40,000 to pay somebody to come and do it. So definitely could use some help with that. And then maybe something that the kids can do, if you have any suggestions on how to keep them busy. Some of the older ones can help, but I really more need them to help watch the little ones than to help us do repairs, because I don't want them to get hurt or into anything that they shouldn't be getting into, as well as making sure that they're getting their schoolwork done. and all the other projects that they're supposed to be doing right now. So I've gotten some good suggestions just from a couple people listening, and I appreciate your suggestions. I know that the military is going to help with some of the expenses for traveling cross country, and we already have a few people that we like to visit. So as far as the actual trip itself, and moving, a lot of that is largely taken care of, and not something that we're too stressed about. It's just a matter of leaving when we want to leave, and then finding a place to stay when we get there. We have talked to a mortgage company out there for looking for a place to stay once we get there, but we can't really get a second mortgage until we get this house taken care of. So we're going to be kind of in between places until we can get this house taken care of. So even with the kids moving, each of them have different backpacks. They each have their own duffel bags. They each have their own backpacks. We've already set aside all the stuff like we weren't living in the house. So they have they each have 2 weeks worth of clothes, plus all the toiletries that they need, toys, books, and electronic devices and chargers. So they'll each have a duffel bag and a backpack for each one of them. We already got an early order of Elijah's formula, and we have enough supplies that will last us for at least 2 months before we'll need to find another company out there. I've already researched the schools out there and the medical facilities in Idaho. And the real estate agent I spoke to out there also gave me phone numbers for the school districts and some of the services that are available out there. They have a satellite clinic from the Salt Lake City, Utah Children's Hospital in the area. So we will be able to have a cardiologist and a GI doctor and all the psychs that we need out there for the kids. And there's also a VA clinic that Richie can use if he needs to get anything done. So a lot of the stuff that involved after is all taken care of and pretty well. What are you looking at? Pretty well taken care of. So that's a praise, and I thank God for that, for sure. We've had, I think I've mostly worked out things with the school locally because we'd like to leave before the end of school, but they're not issuing any more schoolwork after the first week of June. So I'm hoping that the kids will finish. We can get them to finish their schoolwork by Friday, June the 5th, and that we can turn in their Chromebooks and get out of here. Yeah. And then I've also I have to make arrangements to go pick up their stuff at the school, and every school is having them come at different days to pick up things. So that's a few things that we still need to do. I also spoke to most of their doctors and have gotten prescriptions for a 90-day supply of their meds. However, the pharmacies are being pains in the butt and wanting to only give us 30-day supply. So I have to try to figure out what I can do about it, because I've been told by a lot of people that they're giving 90-day supplies because they don't want people to come out more than they should. But when the doctor writes it for 90 days and we go to pick it up, they're only giving us 30 days with refills. So And this is a military pharmacy, not the civilian pharmacies. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we need to figure it out because we need to be able to have enough meds to last us until we can get a new doctor and get new scripts and established for the kids. So that's another thing we have to work on. Also, some yard work. So, if you know anybody that can help make our yard look pretty, that'd be nice too. It's not like the most important thing, but it does help when trying to sell a house. And we have a huge, large tree in the front of our yard with some tree limbs that need to be cut down. If anybody knows anybody that can do that or would be willing to come up and do that, that'd be great help. Whatever.
Make sure I don't.
I mean, you're not climbing up there with only a rope holding you with somebody else on the other end. You've done enough crazy things. That's the last thing you need to do. I'm just saying. No. You should see this guy over here trying to cut a hole in the wall when he doesn't know where the electrical socket is. And he doesn't shut the power off. And I'm like, oh God, he's going to shock himself to death. Roughly. No, but it wasn't safe. Nuts. You're terrible. Terrible. I don't know why. I don't like watching him work sometimes. Because he just does crazy stuff, and it's like, what the frick are you thinking? Why are you standing on that? Why don't you have shoes on? Why are you cutting next to that with that power in it still? Like, what are you doing? And I'm sure he does it all the time. But I'm not around. You also should see all the gray in his hair.
Listen, don't go showing my gray hairs and stuff right now, doggone it. Yeah, I'm getting old. I blame the needle.
I have grays too, but you can't really see them that well. And I dye my hair. But it's been a while since I dyed it, so, you know. I have really dark hair. Normally it's like black. So it grayed really fast. I started getting gray hair when I was 18. So. And then I went and had 7 kids, and, you know, that sure didn't help. You're terrible. Yeah. Yeah, yes, Kristen, we haven't used Express Scripts to mail them out, but we've used civilian pharmacies and the military pharmacy. And for some reason, we've had issues. I don't know if it's the actual med itself as to why they're not wanting to give us a 90-day supply, because one of them is Elijah's Prilosec, which is a compound medication, and there aren't very many civilian clinic pharmacies that it can even make it or even carry it. So we tried to get it at a civilian pharmacy, but the one that takes Elijah's insurance that we normally go to couldn't make the compound pharmacy, couldn't make the compound med. So I called the doctor back, and because of the coronavirus, they shut down a lot of the satellite clinics locally. They're completely closed. So there was only 2 clinics. There were 2 pharmacies that are open and that we can go to in Virginia Beach. That's it. And they have astronomical wait times, just insane wait times. So I called the doctor and I was like, what do you have as a suggestion? And he said, oh, well, I'll write a script for 90 days and and he gave me a direct phone number to call to get them to fill it. So I called them directly and they still took 3 days to fill it. and when we went to pick it up, they only gave us a 30-day supply, even after the doctor gave me a direct line and he put it in for 90 days. So I have to call the doctor back and let him know, because we just found out yesterday when we went to go pick it up. And he'd also, was it Zofran too? What else did you get? It was Zofran. Oh, Prilosec. Okay. Because the Zofran is also one of those hard to get meds as a liquid form. And they gave us they normally come in these tiny little bottles and they give us 6 of them. And that's only enough for 30 days. So 90 days is a heck of a lot of bottles, and they just don't like giving that much. So I'm going to have to call Dr. DeVito, which is Histologist GI doctor, and find out what else we can do, because I know he wrote it for 90 days, but they still changed it to be 30 days with 2 refills. So I might have to have him call and talk to the pharmacy directly and get some sort of exception, because we are moving, because we can't do the refills. We have to get it before we leave. And Prilosec is one of those meds that is running short too, nationwide. It's hard to get. So hopefully it won't be an issue. Hopefully we can get Dr. DeVito to help us out, even if we have to go to Portsmouth and get it. Which would be a pain, but we'll do what we have to do. And we're pretty close to our catastrophic cap this year too, Kristen. So we're almost there. But we did skip going to the military pharmacy for some of the other medications that we get, because the wait time is just insane. And they wanted you to sit there for 12 hours. It's crazy. There's just no way you can do that. Because everybody in the entire area is going to one pharmacy instead of 7 that's normally open. So we'd rather just get them at a civilian and pay the copay because we don't have the time to sit at a pharmacy all day long because everything else that we're trying to do. We basically have also stopped payment as best we can on all of our bills to try to keep some of the money that we get. So we just had payday, so we're not paying our bills to try to get stuff paid for too, which is fine, because if we're 30 days late, once we sell the house, we can just pay back all the stuff that we need to pay. So we're trying to save every little bit of money we can as we go along to try to pay for whatever we can pay for. And we did go ahead and get a credit card at Lowe's. They only gave us $1,000, but $1,000 is $1,000. But that's helped us out a little bit too with buying some of the supplies that we need to buy. The other thing is because we're moving and a couple of the kids have IEPs, the schools want me to redo the IEPs before we move. So I've also been trying to do teleconferencing to the therapist and the schools to try to close out everything for uh, to have records when we move um, for the therapy services and the IEPs and the 504s. So I will tend to be doing a teletherapy session on the laptop while I'm folding laundry or doing other planning things at the same time, so that I can semi be in a quiet space for all that we're trying to do. It's crazy, and I had to laugh because it's just crazy how much stuff we have going on. We both have going on, and we're just chugging along, doing whatever we can. Sorry. It's been crazy weather too, because man, it was really hot, and our AC broke. We had to get that fixed, and it was like 85 degrees in the house. And now today, it is like 50 outside, and it's freezing cold. It's just Virginia weather. You just never know what you're gonna get. Yeah, it's funny when I try to do phone calls of any kind. Oh, it's so loud. I had to go lock myself in the bathroom sometimes just so I can have some quiet. But even if I'm in the bathroom, you hear nah, 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 bang, bang, bang. Mom, shut up! I'm on the phone. So, yeah, that's why if you call me, if anybody ever calls me, you will get a voicemail, and the voicemail says, due to many reasons, 7 of them, it's difficult for me to answer my phone. Please send me a text message or an email, and I will respond as soon as I can. If you absolutely must, leave me a voicemail. basically, basically, that's what my voicemail is on my phone, because I can't answer my phone unless I'm alone, because I can't hear anything you say, and it's so frustrating for everyone, the person on the other end and myself. Um, yeah, and especially right now because they're doing construction work, so they're banging and vacuuming and, yeah, scrubbing the floors and scrubbing the walls, and you can't hear nothing. And then trying to do Zoom meetings, which is even crazier because the kids, I posted on my Facebook about how they've made these mandatory class sessions for my middle schoolers. And of course, they're at the same time, so they can't be in the same room with each other. And plus, all of my kids in in elementary school and my preschoolers, it's just nuts. I got 4 Zoom meetings running at the same time in the same house, and trying to find quiet places for them so they can actually hear their teachers, and then their teachers not hear the craziness in our house. It's like, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to be muted for the whole meeting, because otherwise nobody's going to hear anything. Or your whole class is only going to hear the loudness in our house. And if you need to talk, get headphones with a microphone, because it just isn't going to happen otherwise. That's one thing. It's been really odd lately because we normally have a lot of people in our house. So prior to maybe 1 year ago, we had behavioral therapists, nurses, and respite care workers in our house all the time. And we never had alone time except for at night. And the nurses worked most of the day. When Elijah got cut down to 6 hours, the nurses would work from when he got home from school at 4:30 until 9 o'clock at night. So we literally had no privacy whatsoever. Um, but it wasn't until more recently that the kids have had they've been able to graduate some of those therapies. So they progressed enough and made significant enough progress, um, that we no longer need ABA. We no longer need the infant toddler program in the home. We still have respite care workers. Well, we still had respite care workers, but when the coronavirus came, they could no longer work in our home. And we also haven't had a nurse for Elijah for quite some time as well, until Sarah came to work for us 2 weeks ago. And she's going to work the rest of this month, but she's only working Thursdays and Fridays, so for 2 days a week, which is still a significant help right now, having anybody to come and work. So it's not odd for me to like talk about stuff that is more so private, because we never really had privacy. There's just always been people in our house all the time, and they see everything. All that the kids do, all that we do, our relationships. And I don't know what that is. I paused because I heard something outside. The wind is blowing pretty hard, so I'm hoping that it wasn't something hitting the house. There's the tropical storm that went by, and so we've had some pretty nasty weather the last couple of days. But anyway, we've had lots of even though we've had a lot of people in our house, we've also been more secluded from the majority of our friends and family, because we have so much going on all the time that we don't have a lot of free time. So being able to get on, make phone calls or go out to have dinner with somebody or anything like that has been almost impossible. So we haven't been able to share a whole lot with a lot of people other than what I take the time to post on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, and now TikTok, which I haven't been on in weeks because I'm so busy. But there's a lot that goes into what we do for taking care of the kids, but I praise God that they've mostly gotten to the point where they don't need as much assistance anymore, and that they've been able to graduate a lot of the therapies. Elijah's doing amazing, where he's communicating very well. He's gotten to the point where he can do a lot of his stuff himself. He's learned how to make his own medication, how to give his own medication, how to do his own feeds. We've taught him how to be significant, like learning how to keep up with the time, to set a timer for himself. He has his own phone, he has his own Facebook account, and we make him set his own alarms to keep track of things. Trying to teach him to be more independent. He's been more open to communication. He's gotten better with his social skills, and he's definitely got a heart for God. And he reads his Bible every day, and he always wants to please God in everything that he does. So he still gets occupational therapy, and he's in a speech group. I think they'll probably continue for some time, but he's behaviorally done extremely, extremely well. And Nehemiah is completely not on any kind of therapy. He needs a kick in the pants sometimes because he's lazy and doesn't want to do his work, but he's doing really well too. And Micah, even after being in residential treatment, ever since he also joined the Boy Scouts, he's learned a lot from the Boy Scouts and has done a lot of he's learned about it, more about empathy, about caring about other people, being nicer to animals and others, and he's made significant progress that I used to be on edge around him every second of the day, and I'm not anymore. Like, I feel like I can trust him more to be on his own and to make better decisions. He still has his moments, but he's done a heck of a lot better. And I'm hoping that when we move, that we can find another good scout group, because I think it would be essential for Micah, if none of the other boys, but definitely Micah. Jeremiah is the only one who's been doing all of his schoolwork without needing any of my help. He's done very well behaviorally and in school. And Abijah, I skipped Ezra, I'll get back to him. Abijah is only getting speech therapy. He has some enunciation problems, and other than that, he's doing really well. And he should start kindergarten this coming school year. And Obadiah is doing very well with his speech, to the point where he's about ready to graduate speech therapy as well. And he's not getting any other OTPT or anything, just speech. And I don't think he really needs speech anymore. He talks all the time, and he's just so funny. He has a huge vocabulary. But Ezra is my biggest handful right now, and he was just diagnosed on the spectrum in August of last year, and I wasn't able to get him into ABA therapy. Just a whole bunch of issues I really won't get into, but I wasn't able to get him the behavioral therapy that I wanted to. And he is in occupational therapy, and she's really helped a lot with him socially and behaviorally. But he has a long ways to go. But we just started with him. So he's really, really the one that needs the most help. I think once he gets the therapy, he'll be just like his brothers. He'll be able to graduate and be just fine, because he's a really caring little boy, and he wants to help all the time, and he goes out of way to help others, but he just is wild and does the craziest things, and doesn't understand the consequences of his actions a lot of times, and how his behavior is affecting people around him. So hopefully we will, when we move, we'll be able to get him continued therapy for whatever else it is that he needs. So I'm done ranting. I'm just talking now. But I'm hoping that some people will see this after I post it, and not necessarily live, because I realize it's almost midnight here. So if you see this video after I post it, and you have any suggestions, or you know contractors, or if you're willing to come out and help with anything at all, please let me know. And if you think we should go ahead and get a loan and pay this contractor to do the work, please let me know your thoughts on that too. Because honestly, we're both just worn out, and we realize that doing it ourselves is going to save us a heck of a lot of money. But I just don't know how much more we can do, and whether or not we can find a contractor willing to do it for a cheaper price, with financing available. So shoot me your suggestions, and thank you for listening. Me rant and rave about stuff that's going on. And you guys are awesome, and we really appreciate all of you, and we're going to miss the people here locally, but we'll do our best to keep up with everyone through this page. So thank you all, and good night.